What is up, YouTube? That's here, bringing you guys a little review of my team that I recently did pretty well with at Oregon. I got 20th place with this team, my Blitzkrieg team, as you can see in the little picture here. I ended up playing on stream. I was 5-0, and all I needed was one more round to get into top 4, or I was going to be top 8 because I had like the highest resistance in the whole tournament, but I needed to win one more round, and I sadly went 5-0 to 5-3 and busted out at 20th. But this is a really cool team, so I figured I would review a bunch of the games because I did manage to record 4 or 5 of them before my iPad died. So I have a bunch of games to show you guys against players that did really well. I think 3 of the games that I'm going to show you guys are from people who made top 8. So it's just an even more in-depth look at their team and a little bit of me talking about the games. Remember, when you record regional games, you can only record the last game of the set. So each of these games I'm going to be showing you guys is the potential second or third game of the set, and I'll be sure to talk about that when we go over them. But I want to talk about my team first because I'm sure some of you guys have seen some of my videos, but if you haven't, this team right here is going to be the team that I used at the event. I call it Blitzkrieg because it hits very hard and very fast. It's Coco Raichu, Lele Pheromosa, Pelipper Golduck, and it's not just a standard double duck. It's not just Coco Raichu. It's actually a little bit deeper than that. It's even more gimmicky than it looks because it's using 2 Fling Pokemon. We're going to be using Fling on Raichu and Fling on Pelipper, flinging the King's Rock and Razor Fang to get double flinches, and it ends up being pretty gimmicky. I don't know if I use Fling in any of the replays. I don't know if I use Fling Pelipper in any of the replays I have for you today, but it ends up being a pretty cool team. I'm just going to talk about it as the games go. Remember, since I'm recording these with an iPad, it's going to be super shaky and super not high quality, but it's going to be better than nothing. So hopefully you guys can enjoy some of these games. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments below. So first game is going to be going up against Quinn Johnston. I know I follow this guy on Twitter. He has been playing the game pretty much forever, so for years, and I know he had previous like really good results back when he used to be a lot more serious, but it looks like right now he's just trying to get back into the game. He was my first round opponent, and it looks like his team was Coco Garchomp, Mandibuzz, Ninetales, Feeny, and Arcanine. So right off the bat, he had Ninetales, which I really don't like to fight because my team is using Double Duck, but I make it work, and I'm just going to start this one off, get right into it. So my team has very unique EV spreads on some of the Pokemon. I'm going to mute this. There we go, because, yeah. So I'm going to mute this. And my team has very unique EV spreads on my Lele and Coco and other things like that to make it look like I can get away with things I normally couldn't. So he leads Coco Garchomp, and I lead Coco Lele, which is exactly what I led in the very first game, and I ended up like just rolling him over because this is game 2. So right off the bat, we see his Coco Electric Surge happens, and then my Coco's Electric Surge would have happened, but then my Lele Surge happened. So it shows that my Lele's slower than either Coco. But remember, I am using a Scarf Lele, and I think he knows about that because I got him with it in game 1, but he just hard switches in for Ninetales. And I think this game's over. This game's pretty much over because my Lele is faster than his Garchomp, faster than his Ninetales, and I'm going to be fine. He goes for a Thunderbolt with his Tapu Koko onto my Lele slot, but this is an extremely bulky Lele. It buffers that Life Orb Thunderbolt like it was nothing, and I get to fire off a Choice Specs Dazzling Gleam as well as a regular Dazzling Gleam up. And remember, since Ninetales switched in, sure it's at 1, but I have 2 Pokemon that are both faster than it, that are locked into Dazzling Gleam, but there's not really that much he can do about it because we know he has Garchomp and, you know, just something else. So we're going to see Feeny come in here, and I think I switch here just because I don't want to just double Dazzling Gleam Feeny. What if his Ninetales protects and goes for Muddy Water, gets like crits, accuracy drops? I mean, I don't remember what I do off the top of my head here, but yeah, I think, like I said, I withdraw the Lele, come in with Raichu here, just so if the Feeny protects or the Ninetales protects, which we do see the Ninetale protect, I could go for Encores if I wanted to. Also, Raichu's just really good against things like Feeny. So my first Dazzling Gleam is going to come out here. This is going to deal a ton of damage to his Feeny, and we're going to see the Muddy Water come, which is exactly what I thought would happen. I also wanted to save my Lele for the back so I could send it out, reset the terrain if I want to, and one-shot the Feeny after this first Dazzling Gleam. So really good switch from there. I don't think I really risked that much in switching the Raichu in. And I'm pretty sure my last Pokemon is Pheromosa, so I don't think I need it in this matchup. So we're going to see Feeney has leftovers, which is a pretty good thing to scout. I do think leftovers Feeney is pretty good when you pair it with Ninetales. So at this point, Ninetales is pretty much bodied. We're just going to fake out the Feeney, Dazzling Gleam with Coco to finish off the Ninetales, and then it's Garchomp and like a really low HP Feeney versus the rest of my Pokemon. I have Choice Scarf, Pheromosa, and Lele, and I don't remember if his Chomp was scarfed. I mean, we're gonna find out right here, but even if it is, you know, like I did win the game. So we're gonna see the Garchomp come back out, but I really think, yeah, it was the Groundium Z Garchomp, if I'm just recalling my memory correctly. He never got to use it, but if their Garchomp's slower than all your stuff, it's most likely Groundium Z. So Garchomp comes in here, and there's not really that much you can do. I'm gonna get to fire off a second Dazzle, or it's like, this is like the millionth Dazzling Gleam with my Coco, and then Raichu, I think, follows it up with a Fling, just to keep him honest. Yeah, this is the first time I used Fling in the tournament. I used Fling instead of Psychic, I think, just because I didn't know if the Chomp was vested. We had never seen the Chomp Protect or anything, and I didn't want to get, like, Protect EQ by a vested Chomp. So in this scenario, just because I knew I was going to win, and I know this guy, it's not like he's going to tell everyone about my team, Fling was the better play over the Psychic there. Because, like, if he was vested, it would have just made me have to reveal my Mosa and other stuff. And I'm going to pause this. So that was the first game, puts me at 1-0. Pretty good stuff. He had a very solid team, but I feel like it was just a little bit dated. You know, Feeney, Mandibuzz type stuff. That was a good team like a month ago, but I feel the meta has either it's just widened. Either you're going harder into Trick Room or you're going harder into sweeping, and that type of team tends to play two middle ground. That's the best way I can describe it. But he ended up doing pretty well. I think he probably went 4-4, maybe 5-3. I don't remember off the top of my head, but really good competitor. He's just getting back into the game. So round 2, I'm currently 1-0. We're going up against Hal. This guy didn't talk much at all, and I think he was pretty upset when he lost. I think in this game I might have used the Fling Pelipper, so we'll see. But this guy, I'm pretty sure he told Raphael about my team, because they always talked after every round, and I ended up having to fight Raphael on stream in round 7. So I'm pretty sure this guy told him that I was using Fling on stuff, but it's not the end of the world. That stuff happens at events. I'm just going to hop into this replay. This guy's team was Garchomp, Arcanine, Driftblim, Snorlax, Lele, and Coco. So pretty good team. It can set up the Tailwinds and stuff like that. I remember looking at his team and I'm like, he doesn't really have a Trick Room setter, but he has Lax to counter Trick Room. So overall, it's pretty good. I really don't remember that much about this game at all, but I decided to go Coco Raichu for some reason. But anyways, we're just gonna count. I haven't watched this replay. I watched the first one, but I didn't really watch this one. So what do I do here? So we see the Chomp Protect, which is probably pretty good because I have 2 extremely fast Pokemon. I'm gonna read him protecting. I remember because this is game 2, so I won game 1. So we fake out his Coco, and I'm pretty sure we ate. Yeah, we ate. All right, I remember this game. So we HP Ice the Garchomp. Remember, this is a Specs HP Ice Coco. And I know he's going to withdraw his Garchomp next round. So I withdraw my Coco. I'm not going to just HP Ice his Snorlax or something. I'm going to send in my Pheromosa. And he sends in Lele, which is completely fine. Like, I really have no problem with that whatsoever. You know, Pheromosa checks either Coco or Lele, and it also resets my Coco to be able to use different moves when he comes back out. And we seal his Coco with the Fling. So that is the first Fling Raichu in this game. I don't think, yeah, looking at the first game, I brought Pelipper, Golduck, Lele. Yeah, I didn't bring Raichu in the first game. So that was the first time he saw Fling on Raichu. And I'm trying to remember everything that happens in this game. But anyways, he switches out Lele for Driftblim, which is a pretty smart play. I'm going for a Protect bait with Pheromosa because I could only really kill one of those guys, and I wanted to just bait it out. So we see him make a really good play. He protects with his Coco, gets a Driftblim in for pretty much free, and there's nothing I can really do about it. So it was a very, very solid play. He's going for a Shadow Ball this turn, and this is where he just lost the game. He makes a complete misplay here. He should have Tailwinded. There's like no ifs, ands, or buts. He should have just spotted his Coco and Tailwinded, because if he Tailwinds, he can still win the game. He decided to Shadow Ball thinking he would pick up the KO, but Driftblim with no investment, even though it stabs it, even though it's super effective, it doesn't really work that way. So I was expecting to Encore his Tailwind. Now I've Encored him into Shadow Ball, which is fine because there's no Tailwind up and there's no way that he can win. So Lele's going to come out here, and I just don't really see a way that he wins this. He would have to be switching out his Driftblim, but instead he switches out his Lele into Garchomp, and I don't really think that's a necessarily bad play. but I'm protect baiting him. Like, I really don't have to force anything with my Mosa. I know that he's going to be targeting down the Mosa because it has the +1, and I can just psychic everything down. I know the Drifblim has the +1 special D, but I also have psychic terrain and I stab it. So I think that's a pretty good turn for me. He's pretty much just like floundering, trying to get something going, trying to wait out the Encore by switching everything out, but he should have just switched out his Drifblim by now, I think. So he goes for the Shadow Ball on a Pheromosa, but like I said earlier, Drifblim with no investment just doesn't KO Pheromosa, and I go for a Poison Jab. I'm deciding to get the Drifblim off the board this turn because it's his last turn of Encore. I get a Poison. I don't really need it because we double up into that slot anyways. Mosa is actually going to be left at 1. I only ever take 14 HP from the Life Orb. So Drifblim goes down, and he's left with Garchomp, Lele versus like this huge Pheromosa and Raichu. So I don't remember how exactly I win, but this game is over. This game is over. Oh yeah, I go for another Protect Bait. I'm gonna do this forever until you can actually get around it. So he goes for the mix-up. Normally you would Protect with Lele and Earthquake here, but he goes for the Protect Garchomp and I think like a Dazzling Gleam or something like that. He just goes for a hard Moonblast, and he actually reads me completely like correctly. So he reads me, gets the Raichu off the board, but that opens it up to be exactly what I wanted. All I wanted was Raichu to go down. So Raichu goes down. It's going to let me send my Coco back in here. And remember, since his Garchomp did protect, it showed us that he wasn't vested. Which means, remember how we first started this game off? We went for the HP Ice on the Garchomp. He goes for the double protect. He doesn't get it. Poison Jab's going to come in on Lele. Remember, I am at +1, so it is going to be able to go down. Lele goes down to that, and Garchomp is going to be going down to the HP Ice for my Choice Specs Coco. So that's exactly how I wanted to start off the game, and it's exactly how I finished it, which is pretty cool. I mean, how often do you get to really like lock in an HP Ice against Garchomp? I mean, it's why I have HP Ice. It's straight up just for Garchomp, and he goes down. So good stuff. I think my last Pokemon was my Lele. I didn't even have to use it. Didn't even need it. So that was game 2, and I'm gonna pause it and talk about game 2. So that was game 2. In game 1, I brought Pelipper, Golduck, and Lele something. But anyways, I'm pretty sure I flung him. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I flung him with Pelipper in game 1. So that was pretty good. Game 2 was pretty easy. This guy did pretty well. Very, very solid player. Nothing wrong with his play. He had an amazing team. I think, legit, I think I just tilted him. He didn't expect to lose to my team. And I know he won like the next like 4 rounds and then like lost a couple. Ended up at 5-3, I think, as well. So very, very solid player. Just didn't have... I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I think I just sent him to the Shadow Realm with his loss. That's pretty much it. So this next game is going to be one of my favorites. I met this guy, this is the first time meeting this guy. His name is Jahira Wad. I'm just going to call him Jira. But this guy, he ended up making top 8. His only loss in Swiss was to me, which makes me feel pretty good. He ended up losing to Max Douglas, which is someone else I fought in the tournament, in top 8. But he uses a really, really cool team that's Xurkitree, is that Safini? Yeah, Xurkitree, Tapu Fini, Mudsdale, Muck, Porygon 2, and Choice Scarf Arcanine. So this guy is so good. His favorite Pokemon's Kecleon. I'm sure you guys have heard this name before, but he's just like a really, really good player. Very, very nice guy. I also played him in the Premier Challenge after, where he went like undefeated and I knocked him out in Top Cut with my Butterfree team. But that's another story. So anyways, this is going to be game 3. It looks like game 1, I rolled him with Pelipper Golduck. Like, he got bodied. Because he didn't really know about the brine aspect of it. He would like Porygon 2 Arcanine and pretty much just lost his Porygon 2 turn 1. No. I led Pelipper Golduck. I'm looking at my notes for those of you wondering. Pelipper Golduck. He would Porygon 2 Arcanine. First turn, I nuked his Arcanine. His Arcanine switched. And whatever came in ate my Hydro Vortex and I flung his Porygon. So he saw flung Pelipper from the very first turn of game 1. And then game 2, I went Coco Pelipper. Because I won game 1, I figured I could just go Coco Pelipper and just spam Thunders and Fling and do fine. But he won that one because that's where I figured out his Arcanine was Scarfed, and that was really a pain in the butt. And so game 3, we're right about to start here. So the winner of this one ends up being 3-0. So pretty good game, I think. I love his team. A very, very nice guy. He's probably one of the coolest people I've met playing VGC in quite some time. So he leads off with Fini Arcanine, and it's really weird to even see Fini nowadays. I don't think Fini's all that great, But, I mean, it is what it is. I just don't really respect that Pokemon as much as I should. So I decided to lead Pelipper Golduck, Double Duck, into this Feeny Arcanine, and I do feel like I have a pretty decent advantage here, but I know that Arcanine is Scarfed, and I'm pretty sure it's faster than my Golduck if I don't remember off the top of my head. But anyways, this game is game 3, so we'll see what happens. I should have probably watched these before talking about them. He's just going to hard withdraw the Arcanine. Not the worst play in the world. He comes in with Porygon 2. Oh yeah, I remember how this goes. So he's going to come in with the Porygon 2. He gets a download proc. It's a special attack boost. I'm just hard switching out my Pelipper because I thought he was going to like attack it or something with a wild charge. And I wanted to resist the wild charge while at the same time, I guess, powering it up. So Coco is going to come in. I want to save my Pelipper for later. Remember, this also resets the terrain and gives me a huge power play against Feeny going into next turn. So I go for my Hydro Vortex. I am targeting the Arcanine slot, and what's really cool about this is his Porygon 2 is going to be on the board, but I still have enough damage, I think, to be able to take out the Porygon with like a Hydro Pump Thunder. So just saying, if I wanted to do that, I have the option next turn. I don't really remember how the game goes, but you see that Porygon 2 takes so much damage, and goes for a Moonblast on my Golduck. Yeah, I remember how this goes. So, he gets a special attack drop on my Golduck, and I'm like, I really don't want to keep Golduck in for this. I don't want to miss a Hydro Pump and then maybe not even kill the Porygon. So I decided to switch back in my Pelipper. His Feeny goes for Protect, and I'm pretty sure I Thunder the Porygon this turn. If I was me, I would Thunder that Porygon. Cool. So it's always fun spamming these Specs Thunders in the rain. It's just so much damage from Coco, especially in the terrain. Like, it's just an unlimited amount of damage. And I do feel like I'm in a pretty good spot. He can't set up Trick Room anymore. He has the Scarf Arcanine and a Feeny who just whose Protect is on cooldown. So I feel like I'm in a pretty decent spot. And I think this turn, I don't remember if I fling it, but yeah, he goes for a Sunny Day, Choice Scarf, Sunny Day. Remember, I'm spamming Thunder. That lowers my accuracy to 50%, and it's not looking good for our hero. Yeah, I missed the Thunder, and I fling the Feeny, so I take the Feeny off the board for one turn. And it's not as bad as it seems. I mean, it's kind of funny to see Choice Scarf Sunny Day, but remember, he's going to have to switch, and I still have all 4 of my Pokemon. The only thing that sucks is I'm spamming Thunder. I think I actually go for a double switch here. Or at least a single switch. Like, I have to withdraw my Coco, right? I should probably do that. So Muck is going to come in here. And Muck's a pretty good Pokemon against my team, and I just gotta do my best to not die to it. So Golduck is gonna be the Pokemon I decide to bring in here for free. And I double switch. I think I'm switching into Mosa, yeah. So I decided to switch into Mosa here. I'm probably gonna be foddering the Mosa, but that would let me send out... Yeah, I expected a Dazzling Gleam. But, I mean, I could still send it back out. No, that's not how it worked. Yeah, so I thought he was gonna Dazzling Gleam and do something, or pick up the KO by... I thought he was gonna kill my Pelipper somehow, but it didn't work out. Anyways, Golduck Pheromosa isn't the worst thing in the world. I decide I'm just gonna protect with Golduck until he like kills my... Actually, what am I talking about? Yeah, no, I double protected. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm watching this replay for the first time. But Electric Train gets dissipated, and he's gonna withdraw the Muck. I think he's gonna send Arcanine back in. Yeah, Arcanine's his last Pokemon, so we have to send it back in. And I feel that my team kind of still works here. It's still sunny, but I have just a ton of just raw damage. Yeah, I double protected last turn to scout Shadow Sneak. That's what I did. So high jump kick onto what was the Muck slot. It puts the Arcanine quite low indeed. And Hydro Pump is actually going to hit. I'm going for a Hydro Pump in the sun onto the... I read the Arcanine switch, and that's what it was. I was like, you know what? He's probably going to switch into the Arcanine here because he doesn't want to get bodied by the... He doesn't want to get bodied by Muck. So, pretty good stuff. We're going to see Moonblast finally come in. It's going to KO the Golduck, but it's Muck and Feeny versus Pheromosa, Coco, and Pelipper. So I feel like I'm in a pretty decent spot. I mean, I'm taking my sweet time getting rid of that Feeny, but I feel like I'm fine. So Coco's on the board. Let me try and remember exactly what happens at the end of this game. I don't remember if I nuke the Muck. Oh yeah, this is where I make a pretty I think this is a good play. I think this is a good play. You lunge the Muck, right? I crit. I didn't want to. I did not want to crit. Just a regular lunge at the -1 stat that I was would have put it about 60%, and it would have made it so my Thunderbolt KOs the Muck. Because right now he's at like 80%. So I go for the Thunderbolt with the Specs. But the reason you went for lunge there was to make it so the -1 on the Muck makes it so his Poison Up doesn't kill my Coco or my Pheromosa. I should have just targeted the Feeny that turn, but also the double up in a Muck, it's more aggressive, but it is what it is. I should have lunged the Muck and Thunderbolted the Feeny. That way I would have not lost any Pokemon for sure and guaranteed sealed one of them. Like, let's say you protected with Feeny and Poison Jab, I still wouldn't have lost anything. But it's still game no matter how you look at it. Coco just pretty much locks up the Feeny here, and I am going to get the victory. So, pretty good stuff. I really, really like this guy's team. He's super nice, too. Like, he couldn't believe, like, the fling tech coming out of, like, Pelipper and stuff. He's like, why you do this to me? Like, I come all the way here. He's just a funny guy. So, that was round 3. So, I'm currently 3-0. I'm feeling pretty confident. And my next round is going to be up against the winner of the tournament, Aaron Cybertron Zhang. His team is Lele Drifblim, Garchomp, Kartana, Metagross, Arcanine. I really like that Aaron has used Kartana, Metagross at least 2 regionals because I fought him at San Jose and he had Kartana, Metagross. I really like that core. They have similar offensive typing, but you don't always have to bring both of them. You kind of can bring one or the other. It's like, well, I want to have a fast steel type or I want to have a bulky, strong steel type that can't be intimidated. That's why I really like the fact that he can still do that even in this meta. In game 1, I went Pelipper Golduck, and I didn't fling him, but he went Lele Drifblim, and Pelipper Golduck just rolls Lele Drifblim. If you need something to counter Lele Drifblim, use the QR code that I'm going to be linking at the end of this game to just roll over every Lele Drifblim. Game 2 is going to be my Pelipper Golduck, Coco, and something versus his Kartana, Lele, Metagross, and Drifblim. So, looks like he decided not to... Yeah, he decided not to go Lele Drifblim. So this is going to be game 2. Like I said, I won game 1, and I'm going to do pretty good in this one. So we're gonna show you guys this one. So it's going to be Pelipper Golduck versus Kartana Lele. And I think he went Kartana Lele to kind of check my double duck lead, which I am leading with it, but it is what it is. The Lele is pretty much the linchpin of his team. Like, he needs Lele to try to stop like Trick Room and help set up his Drifblim's Psychic Seeds activation to make its Aftermath work. But the thing is, Lele doesn't really do anything against Golduck. I don't really ever know the item on the Lele, because in the first game I one-shotted it with a Hydro Vortex, and I'm pretty sure I do the same thing in this one. So in both games, he's just going to lose his Lele turn 1. And you can look at it like this. Let's say, I want to say it's Lele specs, but I really don't know anything about it. But if his Lele protected here, and he went with like some type of attack onto either my Pelipper or my Golduck, he would have had a pretty good turn, but it would have let me send out my Coco, who applies the same amount of pressure in just a different situation. And it would have made it so his terrain doesn't work. So I looked at it like this, I was like, even if he Protect baits me, I'm still fine. He goes for the Leaf Blade on my Pelipper. Now I thought this was a really weird play, because I didn't reveal Fling, and it kind of tells me that someone told him I had Fling. I really don't know, like, why would you Leaf Blade the Pelipper and not the Golduck? Because all you would be doing was be clocking a Pelipper Focus Sash, which 99.9% of all Pelippers have. He gets the KO my Pelipper. I tried to set up a tail in that turn, but it's completely fine. This is the turn that the game is weird. I think he should have sent out his Drifblim, but I sent out my Coco, which means I technically would have activated my terrain before his Drifblim gets sent in. So Drifblim never gets a chance to activate its Unburden, and I'm pretty much just going to roll him from here. I decided to go with an Ice Beam onto his Kartana, who we can assume is Sash because he led it against our team. And I go for a Thunder because I'm in the rain. Why not just go for these big Thunders? And in game 1, I also one-shotted his Metagross with Thunder, who we have to assume is banded because it's not protecting ever, and it's not vested because I one-shotted it. And in San Jose, he already used a banded Metagross. So we know he's a fan of banded Metagross, and I just pretty much trying to lock that slot down. His Kartana gets a second Beast Boost, but it's really not the end of the world because I just have a ton of fast Pokemon to continually sweep the game. We're going to see Metagross come in. These are both of our last 2 Pokemon, and Lele's faster than Kartana. That's pretty much how it goes. I go for a Hydro Pump with my Golduck, which is actually going to hit. So he goes for the Detect with his Kartana. Nothing wrong in there. So Hydro Pump hits, which is pretty much the luckiest thing that's happened for me all tournament. So Hydro Pump hits. Almost KOs the Metagross, but we followed up with a Dazzling Gleam. And remember, Lele is faster than the Kartana. It's faster than the Metagross. So we're going to be able to seal it up. It's not like he could have went with Bullet Punch or anything either because of my Psychic Terrain. So that's going to be pretty much it. I mean, I don't really know what else to say other than Aaron ended up winning the tournament. His only loss in Swiss was to me because my team is pretty... It's really one-dimensional. It's super gimmicky. That's the best way to say it. It's pretty gimmicky. And also, just his team has a terrible, not terrible, his team has a bad matchup against mine. That's pretty much it. Double Duck is really, really aggressive. It's hard for him to take the time to gather the information needed to win the game. And after he, like, you saw that game, that was the second game after he already had information from game one, and it was like 4 turns. That's pretty much just how it goes. It looks like game one I went Pelipper, Golduck, Coco. I went for Tailwind and Hydro Z-move, and then the game was pretty much over. And then in game two, you just saw it. So pretty good stuff from me, but that's exactly what my team is supposed to do. Aaron obviously won the event. He totally earned it. All the other games I saw him play, his team is amazing, and you guys should all use it because, or I use like Varian 7. I really like the way he looked at the meta and used Swords Dance Garchomp. Very, very good stuff. Unfortunately for him, Garchomp couldn't have came to this game because I have like 6 Pokemon that lock it up. That's pretty much probably another reason why I did pretty well against him. But I think he's a better player. I think everything good about him is good. So that's my game against Zhang. Next game is going to be up against Cam's. Let's see if it actually shows it. Where is it? There we go. We're going up against Cam's here. And his team is Kartana, Arcanine, Coco, Lax, Garchomp, Mimikyu. So this team, I think it looks similar to what a lot of people were running. I'm pretty sure it was the vested Coco. Looking back at it and looking at like the rest of the tournament, it was probably like a vested Skydrop Coco or something with Skydrop Coco. It never really got a chance to work against me, but yeah, Kartana, Arcanine, Coco, Lax, Chomp, Mimikyu. Very, very solid. I like the way that this team is going as like the meta goes forward, but this is going to be game 2. Game 1, I just went Coco, Raichu, and rolled him. I think I showed that I had Fling Raichu in game 1. And I even might have showed that I had Fling on Pelipper in game 1. I don't remember. I remember I had to show like every single one of my gimmicks in this set, and that was pretty bad. So there we go. We're going to get right into this one. I'm reading Raichu Pheromosa, which is one of my favorite leads. This is the most all-in, the most aggressive lead that I can possibly do ever. And I love the fact that I went for this type of play. Like, in game 1, I won, right? And in game 2, I was like, you know what? I won game 1. I'm going to take a risk and just try to read him real hard. So we see Coco. Oh, another thing about his team is he's only Tapu's Coco. So I don't even really need my Coco. I can have him activate my terrain for me, which is exactly what he did. So first turn, he's going to withdraw his Snorlax in for Mimikyu, trying to block a high jump kick. And I'm not having any of that. I'm just going to fake out his Coco, and I'm going to nuke that Coco slot, because the worst thing that could happen here is the Snorlax frustrations Mimosa, and he'd have to read me super hard to do that, and like I said, I don't think the Coco can protect because I think it's vested. So it gives me a +1 Pheromosa on the first turn of the game. And it's at this point in the game that these kids come up with their dad and start watching my game and start like talking and like, oh, this person has Raichu, this Raichu's so cool, and these kids are like watching me win. And like I kind of feel bad for Cams, but it was kind of funny because like the kids were just like I know that move, I know that move, I know that Pokemon, and it was actually kind of fun for me because I was winning. But you can see at this point in the game, there's not really that many ways I can lose. I go for the Fling on his Mimikyu to lock up his Trick Room. I Poison Jam it to deal damage to it at the cost of Mosa. Like I could have went for Fling and then High Jump Kick into the Kartana. Didn't know if it was Sash, but it's potentially getting Protect Baited there. I felt following the Mosa to put the Mimikyu within KO range was definitely the correct play. So, also, like, Fling, just so you guys know, Fling against Mimikyu is the best thing ever. Fling with Raichu, Fling with anything, because it breaks their disguise, and they always feel so safe when they have Mimikyu. They're like, you can't fake out me, I'm a ghost type, and I'm like, wanna bet? I'll break your disguise while I'm at it. And so, he decides to switch out Mimikyu for, Snorlax, and I think I made a really good play here. I decided to take a potential roll here and go for the Dazzling Gleam. Dazzling Gleam hopefully would have KO'd the Mimikyu. I'm pretty sure it would. I mean, we're going to probably see it in a couple turns. And the Psychic up onto the Kartana slot. Remember, Raichu is 1 base speed faster than Kartana, which means it's always going to be better. So we're going to go for a Dazzling Gleam here. It's going to chunk the Kartana quite a bit. And we're going to be going for the Psychic up onto the Kartana to finish it off. Remember, this is stabbed and boosted by Psychic terrain, so it is enough damage even though Kartana super resists it. And we're going to see Mimikyu come back out after Snorlax goes for Frustration, but it's not like Snorlax is going to be picking up like huge KOs. It's not really strong enough to pick up one-shot potential on Raichu. Even if it did, I had another Pokemon on the back that I'm pretty sure is Coco. So, you know, I'm gonna go for the Dazzling Gleam. I have to KO the Mimikyu. Either way, I think I Psychicked into that slot anyways. I was like, worst case scenario, he KOs my Raichu. Not the end of the world. And he's gonna activate his Berry, but at this point in the game, there's like no way that he really comes back, at least in my opinion. I think he actually does KO my Raichu this turn, but it just lets Coco come in. So he goes for a Frustration, it's going to KO the Raichu, and it's just going to let Coco come in. Coco, remember, it is going to be Specs Coco, and with that big Thunderbolt damage is going to be enough to seal the game. So pretty good stuff. This puts me at 5-0. So 5-0 is pretty good, and it is going to be, like, it puts my resistance at an amazing number. Like, Cam's super good. Zhang, you know, he made top. His only loss was to me. Jira, his only loss was to me. He made top. All the people I'm going to be fighting from here are also going to be in top. So it shows that, like, the team actually works, but at this point in the day, I'm 5-0. I fought against a bunch of really good people. People already know that I'm using Fling Raichu. People already know that I'm using Fling Pelipper. I'm using a really aggressive team. They know that I don't have Taunt on my Lele or Coco, so I don't win any more games. I'm going to be going up against Conan, the guy that got second in the next game, and I don't know if he knew about my team or if he just has fought me on Showdown because I use this team all the time, but he knew what I was doing. He knew what I was doing before I did it, or yeah, he knew the Raichu had Fling. He completely outplayed me. I got bodied. And the round after that, I fought Rafa on stream. I guess I can like link that stream game. But I'm pretty sure if you watched the stream game, you saw me get bodied by Rafa with his Trick Room Nihilego. And yeah, first game against Rafa, I went for some pretty good plays. I didn't get like baited by his Lele. I went for Fling instead of Fake Out turn 1, so I was doing pretty good. And then he got a double flinch with his Rock Slide with his Gigalith when I was going to go for a double KO. Yeah, so the board was, right, he had Trick Room up. It was the second to last turn of Trick Room. He has Nihilego Gigalith. And I have Pelipper Golduck, and I'm like, alright, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to Brine into his Nihilego, and I'm going to Hydro Pump into his Gigalith. And it's rain right now, so what he does is he goes for a Rock Slide. It doesn't KO Pelipper or Golduck. He gets a double flinch, and it shows that I flinched my Pelipper before his Nihilego attack. So Pelipper would have been able to KO the Nihilego with Brine, and then Golduck, if it hit the Hydro Pump, would have been able to KO the Gigalith. And then, obviously, he would have had like a full HP Porygon and a 75% HP Lele. All I would have had to do from there was double protect to wait out the Trick Room last turn, and then nuke the Pelipper, nuke the Porygon, and then nuke the Lele. I would have won game 1 if I didn't get double flinch. That's what I think. He disagrees, but I don't think he had enough damage to beat me. Or if, you know, I just took out the Lele, his Porygon has enough damage to beat me. That's how I saw it. And then game 2, we went with the exact same openings, Raichu Mosa versus Porygon 2 Nihilego. His team's really good because it can double Trick Room, but he withdrew. We went through the same game. He withdrew Porygon for Lele, and he protected with Nihilego instead of just trying to set up Trick Room. It's mostly because it was a Sash Nihilego, we could all assume at this point. And yeah, so I just went for the high jump kick on Lele. It did a little bit less damage than before. Note that matters. And then turn 2, I go for the Encore onto his Nihilego, so no Trick Room, and a Poison Jab from my Life Orb Mosa leaves his Lele at legit 1 HP. 1 HP. I get the poison on it, but actually I didn't want to poison it. Like, the poison on it cost me the game, because he Dazzling Gleams, it KOs my Mosa, chunks my Raichu. Like, I'm not even kidding, the poison on it lost me the game. Because if I just KO'd it right there, first of all, if I KO'd it, he's going to have to send in Porygon or Gigalith, which was the last 2, and I'm going to have a +1 Pheromosa. That game's over. The game is over. Like, I'm sorry, but if you have an Encore Nihilego, and your only 2 Pokemon get one-shotted by my Mosa, I'm going to win. That's how it goes. And then I lost, because I couldn't stop. He sent out Porygon, and the only thing I have left are Choice Scarf Lele and Choice Specs Coco to try and stop a Porygon coming in. And I go for the Thunder, because it's my strongest move. I miss my Thunder. Thunder does usually about 70% to Porygon, so I was hoping I could roll like a high end on the Thunder or the Psychic. Maybe I could get a special D-drop on the Psychic. But I missed the Thunder, so it didn't even matter, and I lose that round. So it was unfortunate, but I wanted to play on stream, and I did play on stream, so that was pretty good. And then the last round was versus Max Douglas, who, Max Douglas ended up getting top 4. He ended up beating Jahira in top 8, and he really solid team. Let me look at his team. Max Douglas, Coco, Steela, Porygon 2, Arcanine, Gigalith, Chomp. So the last 3 rounds I fought Gigalith, which ended up being a pretty bad matchup for my team, just because that is what it is. And I lost. It was good series. Max Douglas, really nice guy. Not that much else to say about him. I'm really glad that he actually made top after beating me, because I would have been very upset in that last round if someone beat me and then they didn't make top. And he ended up getting 6. He had the best tiebreaker of anyone other than me in the tournament, I think. I like to think because I brought him up a little bit. But anyways, that is the regional review for my Blitzkrieg team. I am going to be linking a QR code for my team below, so you guys can use this team in all your battles. I know a bunch of you guys have been asking for QR codes, so go ahead, use this team to your heart's content. If you have any questions on it, feel free to let me know in a comment on a video or in a message or on Twitter. I'll be sure to answer, but this team is a lot of fun to play. It's super aggressive, and it's amazing in best of 1, which is perfect for battle spots. So have fun using the team. Let me know what you guys think about it, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.